Computerized music can sound lifeless sometimes. But if we add in some controlled chaos, you can bring it back to life. So there's 3 levels of chaos or randomness we can add to anything to make it sound more human. Level 1, we're going to add randomness to the notes. Level 2, we're going to add randomness to the plugin that's playing those notes. And level 3, I'm going to add random noises with my mouth. And you're going to be able to hear this flute sound more human with every step. So the key to adding emotion to a sound is to use some common sense. Like this flute part, think of what a flute player does when they're actually playing the flute. The pitch is never the exact same. The volume is never the exact same. The length of the notes, never the exact same. Even the mouth noises they make while blowing into the flute, the like those are always different too. It's all humanized. You guys know this, but the bare minimum starting point to make something sound more human is to randomize the velocity of every note, the position of every note, and also the length of every note. In whatever software you use, you should be able to highlight every note and do this pretty easily. In Logic, I just go to MIDI transform, humanize, and here I can pick how much I want to randomize the position, velocity, and note length. And then I just press one button. If I zoom in here, you can see everything's just a little bit off the grid and the velocity and the lengths have changed a little bit. But you know, a real flute player wouldn't just play exactly one note at a time like this. They would add some hammer-ons and some trills, so we can add those things in too. Like that's a hammer-on. And then for a couple of the longer notes, we could actually add some trills by adding a few really short random notes in there, so it makes it sound like the flute player is moving their fingers up and down really fast. So not every note should be a perfect one note at a time thing, because that's not how someone actually plays an instrument. And if you really want to control the emotion of a melody, I would pay really close attention to the length of each note. We can go through each little section like this, and we can mess around some more with the note length and the velocities to make it sound more expressive. It's all about the feeling it gives you, so there's no real science to it, but you can go through your whole melody and do this, and it will sound a lot more expressive. Just feel it out. So I just went through and tried to make everything a little more expressive with the note lengths and velocities, and it's sounding pretty good, but it's still not quite sounding human enough. For level 2, we got to change some settings within the actual sampler that's playing the flute. So I'll go into the settings, and we have the pitch right here, and we have the volume here. And I don't want this to become a tutorial for this specific plugin. I want these concepts to be universal to whatever synth or plugin you're trying to use. But the key is going to be to get a totally random shape and use that to modulate both the pitch and the volume. That way the pitch and volume are slightly changing randomly over time. So that's what it sounds like when the pitch is randomized. It's so creepy, man. And if we do that to the volume too, it sounds insane, but we can actually reel in that chaos, so it's just tiny changes in pitch and volume. So now those crazy effects are barely noticeable, and that's kind of the point. We're just looking for slight imperfections. Also, when I hold down a long note, I want there to be a little vibrato that gets introduced and more intense over time. So for that, I can affect the pitch with another random shape. And I can fade that shape in so it slowly gets more intense over time. And then again, we can dial that back so it's barely noticeable. And if you think about someone playing the flute, they're going to kind of run out of breath on the long notes. So the volume is probably going to get a little shakier as time goes on too. So we should do something similar to the volume. So you hear the volume moving up and down slowly. Now I can dial that back down too. So now let's listen to where we're at after level 2. By the way, all the drums in this track are from my new Pro House Drums pack, which you can try for free at bigzsounds.com. It also comes with a drum arrangement course to help you make better drum beats. And now we've made it to level 3, which is the most fun part. Level 3 is going to be all about adding random noise. And we can do this 2 ways. We can do it with samples, or we can do it with our own mouth. So I could take an existing flute sample like this, and I'm trying to make it fit with this long note here, so I can time stretch it a little bit, and I can duplicate it and then reverse that. So that sounds crazy, but if I take all the low end out of that, it's just going to help that long note sound a little more dynamic and less boring now. Because that high end noise is just changing slightly over time. But nothing's going to be as human as making the noises with your own mouth. So I'm just going to pretend I'm a flute player blowing into a flute and make noises while I listen to the lead melody. And I only really need the high frequencies from that. Someone listening to this track on Spotify is going to have no clue that that layer is there, but it's going to add a subconscious human touch to it. So let's play the final result. Here's what 3 levels of adding chaos and randomness did to this flute sound. By the way, this track is out now. Just search Big Z Loving You on Spotify and you'll find it. Thanks for watching. Peace.